What is going on, my guardian gamers? It is I, Birdman, back with another Destiny 2 build, and this is one for Titan. Again, another Void build using the second chance exotic gauntlets, as well as an awesome, exotic AR. I don't really have to tell you exactly which one it is, but I'm guessing you probably already know which one I'm talking about. This is a bit of an update of one that we did a while back, but I want to see how it is now, and it's pretty freaking juicy. But before I jump into everything you need to do for this setup, know you can follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Birdman778. Like the video, subscribe, comment down below in a setup, you're interested in seeing, whether it's Hunter, Titan, or Warlock, become a member, all that fun stuff. But before, actually, wait, no, that is pretty much it. All right, let's get into the build. Now let's look at the exotic that we're going to be using for this setup, and that is going to be the second chance gauntlets. These were added back in Season of the Haunted. Originally, when they came out, they were pretty awful. They really only read that you got a second charge of your shield throw, and that shield was actually barrier stunning, but now reads gain a second charge of your shield throw melee. Your shield throw melee now weakens targets and becomes shield piercing, stunning barrier champs. And when you stun a barrier champ with your shield throw melee, you regain a melee charge. So adding that weaken in is really solid, especially kind of helps you out with the overall setup for the subclass, so that you're not really having to worry about flowing into weakening grenades for a lot of things. You can just focus it on the melee and open up an extra fragment spot for yourself. But obviously this added on with something like the Monte Carlo is pretty freaking juicy. For the subclass and everything you're going to be needing for this setup, I decided to go with the Sentinel Shield as our super, so you can run around, be an absolute crazy Captain America boy. Because of everything that we have going on in our mod slots on our armor, we get this super really fast. So I decided to take advantage of it, use the roaming super and all that fun damage. Now, I will say Sentinel Shield is definitely better with like something like Doomfang Pauldrons, purely off the fact that you're able to keep up that super time. But this is still really solid, especially for, again, the fact that you're able to get your super back so fast because of the certain mods we're using. It's really fun. Obviously, for abilities, you need to use the shield throw. Have no reason to use the shield bash. Use the shield throw. You're going to be wasting exotic if you don't. But the shield throw is really fun just because of the distance it adds for our melee, and also the fact that every time we use it, and we hit a target, we get an overshield. So this is actually a really solid tanky build as well, because of the constant, overshield that we're going to be holding on for ourselves. And I decided to also go with a vortex grenade just because it's absolutely juicy and we love it a lot. For our aspects, we're going to go with the classic offensive bulwark bastion combo. Offensive bulwark while you have an overshield, which we constantly do because of all the shield throws we're going to be doing, or our inside ward dawn. Your grenade recharges significantly faster and has increased melee range and damage, and the melee final blows extend the duration of your overshield, and I get a second charge of my shield throw with my Sentinel Shield super. So this is really great all around. You're going to be constantly chucking shields. You're going to be constantly being able to throw your grenade around, which will feed into a lot of our melee stuff later on the road. It's just really fun. And then obviously Bastion to help constantly proc that overshield for ourselves, but also just for some all-around tankiness to the build, because we're constantly be adding a overshield to ourselves and our allies, and it also helps regenerate it. So really fun. For our fragments, we're going with Echo of Harvest. Defeating a weakened target creates an orb of power and a void breach. We're constantly creating those because of whenever we throw that shield throw, it's going to weaken targets and kill them at the same time, getting that 1-2 punch right there. Echo of Expulsion. Avoid ability final blows cause targets to explode, which is that shield throw pretty constantly. It almost adds like a severance and closure effect to the entire setup, so it's really fun to chuck those and just watch all the void detonations go off. Echo of Exchange. Melee final blows grant grenade energy. We're just we're already getting our melee back so much with this. We don't really have to focus on grenade going into melee as hard, so having this fragment is really nice just to constantly get us that extra ability. And then finally, Echo of Starvation. Picking up a void breach or orb of power grants Devour. I really wanted to add this in just because I think Devour doesn't get used enough on like Titan a lot of times. Devour is feast on the energy of defeated foes. Final blows restore you to full health and grant grenade energy and extends your Devour. So we really like this just because, again, it's adding into our grenade, it's adding in extra health. Again, we're already getting a lot of overshield, so that's adding a part of the tankiness to this build, but Devour really does kind of add on to it as well. So this is an absolute tank class. Obviously, like I said before, we're using the Monte Carlo for this setup. The Monte Carlo has just been it's just like skyrocketed to S tier for a lot of people. It's always been like that for me because of its intrinsic trait, the Monte Carlo method. Dealing damage with this weapon reduces your melee cooldown and grants a chance to fully charge your melee ability with each kill. So we're constantly getting to throw those shield throws around and take advantage of all the different ability that it's going, like that shield throw itself is going to give us. Over shield, it's going to give us grenade energy, it's going to give us super energy, and you know, it's going to weaken targets as well. The Monte Carlo is the perfect weapon for it. I know if you've been around my channel, you see me use it a lot. I love it. I'm an absolute simp for this. But we also have the Markov chain trait. This weapon gains increased damage from melee kills and kills with this weapon, which we're constantly going to be doing. And then melee kills grant ammo for this weapon. So consider getting this down to like one bullet and then just chucking a shield and kill an enemy with that, and then you'll have a, you know, fully charged gun right afterwards. So we really like this all around. Now for the setup and everything that you're going to be needing mod wise for this build, obviously on the helmet we're going to be going with the kinetic siphon. We're only going to be really using the Monte Carlo for a lot of our damage and stuff, so this is the best option for getting as many orbs of power as we can. And then obviously a hands-on, so we're able to get all that super energy from our melee kills. And I always put on Ash's assets because we are using our grenade a lot with the setup still, no matter what. So it's nice to be able to get that extra juice from it. On our gloves, I decided to go with a focusing strike so that we're getting our bastion back faster because we're constantly chucking those shields. Impact induction, causing damage to your melee attack, reduces your grenade cooldown. So again, getting that grenade back as fast as we humanly can. And then heavy-handed, because we're constantly chucking those shield throws, getting a few extra orbs of power from that. We're going to be creating a lot of orbs with this setup, purely because of the fact that you're constantly chucking those shields, and it has multiple ways of creating orbs of power. On our chest piece, I always go triple, you know, concussive dampener. It's just like the best all around. Obviously you can add maybe something like a reserves instead if you want, but this is just kind of my choice for the time being. On our legs, like to go double absolution to get that ability cooldown whenever we get an orb power, and then also recuperation to add to the tankiness of the build, so that whenever we get an orb power, we get a little bit of health back. And then obviously on the Titan mark, we're going to be going with double distribution for that ability cooldown whenever we activate our banner or bastion around people, and then also the powerful attraction to snag all those orbs whenever we activate it. For our artifact, obviously not a whole lot here that we can do to really, you know, help out this build. Not really focusing in a whole lot of the artifact to add on to things this season, purely off the fact that it's so focused into the elemental orbs. But monochromatic maestro is always a solid one to snag. Dealing elemental ability damage increases matching weapon damage, and elemental weapon damage increases matching ability damage. And the bonus is 10%. So if you're using like your heavy or your energy, it'll be really solid because you are all focused in void. Now, typically with the setup, I like to recommend different things to swap in and out, but I'm going to say this is kind of, you know, contingent on each other. Monte Carlo really feeds in the second chance just because we're constantly chucking those shields. So I really wouldn't say there's much to change in and out. If anything, maybe you can go with like a sword for your heavy if you want to just do a lot of melee stuff, but all around, I don't think there's really need to change anything with this setup. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. Again, really loving getting to be back at the swing of things with Destiny, playing different builds and setups. I'm going to be doing a lot more Hunter and Warlock things here in the coming days, so don't be expecting a whole lot more Titan stuff. Definitely going to be focusing on those other two classes. Got a couple ideas. I just need to get some exotics to help myself, you know, get through all that. But again, thank you so much. Make sure you follow me over on YouTube and Twitter at Birdman778. Give a thumbs up on this video, subscribing to the channel, and becoming a member. But regardless, guys, thank you so much. Hope you have a great night, day, whatever it may be.